All right. Why don't you tell us another story about your driving experiences?
I'm gonna sing you a song.
Yeah, I could do that
No,
too.
no. Back in the old days. The old days in May 1. In May 1, when growing up, our biggest excitement we had was sleigh riding and playing games in the sidewalk and the road. We didn't have a lot of things. We had a playground, had a merry-go-round on it, kind of run with it. Had swings. That was the extent of all of it. But we had to entertain ourselves. So we used to play a game that we'd play Go Sheepy Go. And that was a hide and seek game. So I don't even remember that. That was a long way. It was a Go Sheepy Go, and everybody would go out and hide, and it was getting dark. But we played in the afternoon till dark. When it got dark, it was time to go home. Things about May 1. When I was 14 years old, my sister Florence lived at our house with her two kids, 3 kids, Bob and Ronnie. I don't know whether Ralph was there or not. I know Bob and Ronnie were there. And Kay Warren was working for Red Jacket Coal Company. He was a controller up there. Well, Ray didn't like this job. Ray? No, is that your dad?
Ken.
Ken. Ken?
Yeah, Ken. Kay.
Huh? Kay Warren. Oh, Kay Warren's a good old man. He was the only guy that would ever trust me with a car, and he'd always come in with a new car, and he'd let me drive it. But anyhow, what happened though is he was out looking for a new job, a new coal company. So he found this coal company, and he was going to transfer. I don't know how we will end up in Shinston, West Virginia, which is between Clarksburg and Fairmont. But we were going to move to Shinston, and the man that owned the man Kay was going to work for, he had a wife and a child, a young girl, and they had to go up there too, and nobody was there to drive them. There's no buses, no trains go up there. So guess what? I got to drive. I was 14. I drove from Matewan to Shinston, West Virginia, and I drove all the way up there. Didn't have seat belts, didn't have all this stuff we got today. But we drove all the way up there, and I stayed there with Florence probably 3 or 4 weeks and lived with her and raised the kids. We used to make chocolate candy all the time. Had a lot of good times. But anyhow, that was my adventuring driving. And in those days, I didn't have a driver's license, obviously, at 14 years old. So I came back home and I applied for my driver's license. I told them I was 16. Well, they didn't do anything about it. They didn't care. But I flunked the test 3 times. And finally, the 4th time, I guess I got concentrated a little better and do all the questions and answers. And then did the driving test, and I passed the test, and I got my driver's license. And my driver's license always had me, at that time, 16 years old. Well, as I got older, my driver's license got older too. So finally I said, hey, somebody made a mistake on my license. And they said, "Oh, how old are you?" And I said, "Well, at that time, I was 16." And I told them I was 16 instead of 18. So they changed me and got me a good license, driver's license. And then I had a correct driver's license. But then I drove trucks. At one time, I drove a beer truck. In those days, it was a flatbed truck. It had gates along the outside and cases of beer and soft drinks in the back and on the bed. Well, Dominic Gentile, who's a good friend, and Harry were good buddies, liked to shoot pool. And Dominic was delivering beer out of the Williamson Beer, where his family owned. So they were down there shooting pool, and I said, I'll drive your truck and do your route. So I drove that truck, and I was only 14. I drove it over Pigeon Mountain. If you've ever been over Pigeon Mountain, that's the kind of good mountain when you got a loaded truck. You come down on the other side, and your brakes don't really help you a lot. And you get what we call mule gear, which is first gear. And we go down to first gear and let the engine hold us back and go down that mountain. I went over and delivered his beer over there. And then I came back over the mountain, went home, and went back to the store, back to the pool room, where him and Harry was shooting pool. So I was his gopher, but I was thrilled to death because I got to drive a truck. Hey, I had a lot of experiences.
Well, I'm going to turn it off here.